Welcome in, everybody. Happy Monday. Hopefully, you guys had a great weekend. I am here to talk about Monday's best bets. It is May 20th. If you normally watch the live streams, thank you. We're trying something different. We're going to be doing recorded videos every single day. This is going to include Saturday, include Sunday, 7 days a week at 1 p.m. Eastern. From me, you're going to be getting a recorded video going through the baseball slate, giving my favorite picks based off of the Bet Karma premium tools. And like I said, if you've watched the live stream in the past, you know how this goes. If you're new, welcome in. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel so you know every single day when that video goes live, you're ready for it. And you're ready to make some money with us over the course of the summer. Like I said, I'm going to run through my thoughts on the baseball slate using the premium Bet Karma tools and showing you guys kind of how I go about my process and how I use the tools to find plus EV bets. If you want access to not only these amazing tools, the moneyline predictor, the spread predictor, the total predictor, the live trends tool for all sports, as well as our premium Discord community and my premium betting card every single day, with which I have profited over 180 units since the start of 2023. You can go to betkarma.com/pricing or click the link in the description of this video. With that being said, let's dive in. Monday, big baseball slate. We do have some day games here with the Padres and Braves playing a doubleheader and the White Sox and Blue Jays kicking off here in the afternoon. But other than that, it's a pretty full slate for a Monday, and we have a lot to talk about. I also want to note I won't exclusively be talking about baseball on these daily videos. We have tools, as you can see here on my screen, for the NBA, NHL, WNBA, which is huge, just kicked off within the last week. We'll definitely be talking some WNBA on the videos here as well. But I do full-time handicap baseball, so that's where the majority of my plays will come from and the analysis on this stream, or video. But we're not going to exclusively focus on baseball. There will be some other stuff mixed in, and this will carry on throughout football season and everything, for the coming time. So for today, the first thing I like to do in the morning when I'm looking at the games, I'm seeing who's pitching and stuff, I like to pull up the live trends tool here. And I like to see, kind of where the lines are, who's favored. I like to look and see who's starting and stuff. So the first play and game that I want to talk about for Monday is the New York Mets and the Cleveland Guardians. It starts at 6:10 Eastern time. You have the Guardians here as favorites at -130. And the total of the game is set at 9 runs. It opened at 8.5. As you can see on the screen, it is up to 9. So for this game, first and foremost, I think this is set up as a great game for offensive production. And I'm actually going to have two of my 3 plays today are going to come within this Mets and Guardians game. The first of which being, we're going to take that over on the total. This live trends tool is fed to us from DraftKings. So the total of this game is 9 on DraftKings. You can shop around, and we have those tools, the odds comparison available for you as well. You can shop around and find the best line. You can still catch 8.5s out there. So first pick for today is going to be the over 8.5 in this Mets and Guardians game. There is a huge discrepancy in terms of the bets coming in here and the money coming in here. As you can see, 42% of the bets, but 71% of the handle. So there has been some large wagers made on the over in this game. The under is actually the public side here with 58% of the tickets. Yet that total is creeping up, which is a big sign to me. Now, I will never make a bet based solely off of, splits or the data here. I use this as a tool to further my research. So if I do see a discrepancy that big, that being a 42% of the tickets, but 71% of the handle, I want to dive into the game a little bit more. I want to see, why are people betting the over so heavily in this game, and do I agree with it? I do agree with it today. First and foremost, weather is a big factor when it comes to baseball. Everybody knows that. When you think about whether there's going to be rain or not, whether there's going to be wind blowing out or not, like these are big, big factors when we're talking about handicapping baseball games. It is very, very good weather in Cleveland today. It's actually mid 80s. It's around 85 degrees. There's no strong wind blowing in or out, but just the fact that it's so warm, and it really hasn't been crazy warm in Ohio this year. Like these are some of the hottest days we've had of the entire year thus far. Me also being located in Northeast Ohio, I can tell you that. So the ball should be flying pretty well in this hot weather. So that is one factor that obviously I like to see. Now, secondly, when we think about who's starting this game, we have Tyler McGill going up against Ben Lively for the Guardians. Tyler McGill, we really have not seen much of him this year, but if we look at kind of his historical data last year, was he very good? Not really. He struggled against righties in terms of his WOBA allowed and his ISO allowed, and he gave up an even higher WOBA to lefties. So really no crazy number against either side of the plate. The reason he could survive well was a 50% ground ball rate to right-handed hitters last year, but he doesn't strike out a lot of batters, 15% of righties, 21% of lefties. So there's just nothing that really sticks out that gives me a ton of faith in Tyler McGill. And Cleveland has been swinging the bat very well recently. On the other side of it, when we talk about Ben Lively, he has been a little bit lucky this season. He came out and started off really strong for the Guardians throughout the first month of the season. He's pitched to a 3.06 ERA this year with 23% strikeouts. Pretty respectable numbers, but when you dig in a little bit deeper, you see that 3.06 ERA is backed up by a 4.21 expected ERA, so he's been a little bit lucky in terms of the run prevention numbers. Like I said, the strikeouts are decent at 23%, but his walk rate is average at best at 9%. He's giving up 42% hard hits, so he's definitely giving up some hard contact. And, exit velocity, he's allowing a 91 mile per hour average exit velocity, which is one of the worst numbers for a starter in baseball. So, again, I don't have a ton of confidence in either of these starting pitchers. It's very hot in Cleveland today. So, that's two factors that I think we can consider for the over in terms of the runs here. Both teams also match up well versus the opposing pitcher's pitch mix when we talk about the lineups. So, Ben Lively, he's going to throw a lot of fastballs and a lot of sinkers. That accounts for well over 50% of his pitch mix, those two pitches. And when we look at the New York Mets, they are kind of notorious, like really good, that the top of their lineup is very, very good at hitting fastballs, and their best players are very good at hitting sinkers. When you think of guys like Pete Alonso, JD Martinez, even Lindor to an extent, Brett Beatty, these are very, very good sinker ball hitters. So I think that individually the matchups for the lineups kind of carry over as well here. So just another factor, that we can look at the over here. And then when we look at Tyler McGill, I mean, he's going to throw a lot of fastballs. In his limited action this year, we've seen the fastball 60% of the time from him. And if we look at Cleveland against fastballs, again, their best hitters are all very good fastball hitters. Josh Naylor, Jose Ramirez, Andres Jimenez, are all very, very good fastball hitters. So the middle of the lineup here should have success against what Tyler McGill wants to do. So the over 8.5 in the Mets Guardians game is going to be my first play of the day for Monday. And we will track these bets throughout the season. I'll do a recap. Obviously, this is the first video that I'm doing like this. So tomorrow we'll recap how today went briefly, and then we'll jump into the Tuesday slate. So anyone that knows me knows my brand is kind of built upon transparency, and I have no issues recapping winning days, losing days, whatever. We will definitely be tracking the plays throughout the summer here. Okay, so when we look at this game, obviously I said I have two plays in this game. So we took the over 8.5 runs. If we're taking the over, we're kind of assuming that there's going to be some good, it's a good spot for offense. So I want to look at some hitter props here. And the one that stuck out to me the most is we're going to go with a little revenge game, and we're going to go with Francisco Lindor over 1.5 total bases. So I only have one book pulled up right now. So again, use the odds comparison, whatever, shop around, find the best odds for this bet. But what I'm seeing right now is Lindor over 1.5 total bases minus 120. I'm just assuming right now you can find a little bit better odds than that if you look around, but I'm gonna track it and take it at minus 120 because that's what I have up on my screen. So Francisco Lindor over 1.5 total bases minus 120 is our second play for Monday. Like I said, I think he matches up really, really well here against Ben Lively. He hits sinkers well. He hits fastballs well. And while his season-long numbers do not look very good, I think that there's reason to be kind of encouraged here. So, if we look at the numbers for the season, we see he has a 281 weighted on base average this year. Now, his expected WOBA is 342, significantly higher than his actual. So we can kind of bet on some positive regression coming his way, right? If we look at his batting average for the season, he's hitting 197. But if we look at his expected batting average, 266. That's a huge gap. So I think throughout the summer here, this is going to be a kind of common theme. I think we're going to see a good stretch of play from Francisco Lindor at the plate here soon. So I'm buying into the positive regression coming. It's hot. It's a good matchup for him individually against the hitter or against the pitcher. And I have no reason not to buy into these underlying metrics. So give me Francisco Lindor over 1.5 total bases. And for the kicker of the bet here, we all know, revenge factor aside, we know that Francisco Lindor played for the then Cleveland Indians, now Cleveland Guardians, for quite a few seasons, took him to a World Series, multiple playoff runs. What's very, very interesting to me is Francisco Lindor, during his entire MLB career at Citi Field, the Mets home field, he is hitting. Let me pull this up. For his career at Citi Field, he's batting .235 with 33 doubles, right? 33 doubles, whatever. He's played 250 games at Citi Field. He's hitting .235. For his career at Progressive Field, which is the Guardians' home field, he's played 392 games. He's hitting .306. 235 at the Mets Stadium versus .306 at the Guardian Stadium. It's a ballpark he knows well. It's a ballpark that I think fits his batter's eye. He obviously hits the ball significantly better in Cleveland versus other stadiums. And I don't even think that I don't think this is a direct correlation of like, oh, he was better when he was on the Guardians. That's why he's hitting better. I don't know. I think that this ballpark suits him well. If we look at, just another example, obviously he's played the White Sox a lot given his time in Cleveland. He's hitting 247 for his career at the White Sox Stadium. So that 306 average at Cleveland's ballpark definitely sticks out to me. Francisco Lindor over 1.5 total bases minus 120. I want to do 2 to 3 bets every single day. So let's see if we can find one more. I'm going to show off one of our other tools here at betcomer.com. I've had the live trends tool up on the screen for you guys. Let's switch over and let's look at the money line predictor. So the money line predictor has been on fire this season. The top graded play has hit quite a few times over the last week. And again, this tool should not be taken as gospel, right? This should be, an added factor into your research process. That's how I look at it. But the one that really sticks out to me today is the second graded play right now. And these numbers will change throughout the day based on information. So, I would definitely be checking it in the afternoon as well. If you see something you like in the morning, I would check it again in the afternoon. The one that sticks out to me here is the second graded play. It's an 11.5% differential. The Milwaukee Brewers, minus 135. So Vegas has Milwaukee at minus 135 today. And the money line predictor actually gives them much closer to a 70% chance to win this game. So we are going to be taking the Milwaukee Brewers on the money line. When we look at the pitching matchup for this game here, we have Joe Ross going up against Ryan Weathers. These pitchers have kind of been complete opposites in terms of their production this season. Joe Ross has pretty much underperformed based off his expected numbers and the underlying metrics, whereas Ryan Weathers has kind of overperformed those. For example, Joe Ross has a higher actual ERA than his expected ERA. Ryan Weathers is the opposite. Ryan Weathers has a 3.81 ERA compared to a 4.50 expected ERA. So they've kind of been the inverse, whereas it looks like Weathers has kind of outperformed, while as Joe Ross has kind of underperformed. Furthermore, if we kind of dive into Ryan Weathers himself and why I'm so interested in the Milwaukee Brewers, first and foremost, the Brewers are just the better team, right? They're sitting atop their division. They're one of the best teams in baseball. They've been good both on the road and at home. Miami, one of the worst teams in baseball. They're not going to make the playoffs. They're bad on the road. They're bad at home. They're bad all around. They've traded Luis Ariz away. They really have nobody in the lineup that you're extremely scared about, and they're only going to get worse because their few good hitters that they have are probably going to get dealt at the deadline. So, I have no problems picking on the Miami Marlins, especially when we're getting a pretty good number here at minus 135. Now, Ryan Weathers, if you dive into him, yes, he has had some great starts this year. He's coming off a pretty good start against Detroit, but I do value Milwaukee higher than Detroit at the current, stance. And when we dive into Ryan Weathers a little bit further this season, he's allowing a 210 WOBA to left-handed hitters with a .047 ISO. Extremely good numbers against left-handed hitters for Ryan Weathers. When we look at his numbers against righties, falls off a cliff. 330 WOBA and 180 ISO. So significant gaps between his production against lefties and righties. Now, the Brewers are going to do everything in their power to push out a full lineup of righties tonight. Only Christian Yelich is projected to bat from the left side from the Brewers tonight. So he's going to see 8 righties, which is definitely worrisome, giving the gap in those numbers from lefties versus righties. Going to see a full right-handed lineup tonight, which is another big advantage for the Milwaukee Brewers. Ryan Weathers also throws a ton of fastballs. He throws around 44% of the time. His big pitch is his changeup, in which he gets 37% whiffs on. He gets a ton of whiffs on his sweeper as well, which he throws around 20% of the time. So he has 2 good pitches he can go to get swing and miss, which is why he's been able to outperform those metrics. But he's still a pretty heavy fastball pitcher. And the Milwaukee Brewers, top of the lineup is good against fastballs. Bottom, not so much, but there are some small sample sizes in there. Regardless, though, I will value the kind of lack of performance against righties for Weathers over the pitch type data. And we're going to take the Milwaukee Brewers at minus 135. So to recap everything here, we're taking the Cleveland Guardians, New York Mets over 8.5 runs. We're taking Francisco Lindor over 1.5 total bases. And we're taking the Milwaukee Brewers on the money line at minus 135. That's my 3 favorite plays for today. Thank you guys for tuning in. I highly encourage you to sign up at betkarma.com/pricing. Get access to these tools for yourself. Play around with them. Get familiar with them over the summer in prep for the big NFL season on the horizon. We're going to be adding some more stuff to the website as well before NFL season. If you made it this far, I greatly appreciate you. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Good luck tonight, and I will see everybody on Tuesday.